Hello, Ken Spriggs here with part 2 of my Wonderfest 2023 recap. The first one was definitely getting long. This one's about the same size. I'm looking at mostly the merchandise that I purchased at the show, some cool models that I got, but also looking at one of the vendors that was there, and I'm not just looking at one particular vendor. I like this particular one because I bought my Helene figure from him, from Escape Hatch Hobbies, which I'm really pleased with. And I didn't realize they did so many other things, but they had a booth there and they had several models, and I picked up one of them. And I definitely want to get more from them. It's a really great site from a gentleman named Michael Berglund, who's not only the designer of these models and 3D prints them, but he also is a great artist and also has painted all the box art and the covers for them. So I'll have a video here in a moment with a little brief interview with him, and then I'll show you some of the products that he has, and then one of the ones that I bought from the convention. So I'm not really going to show like your typical video throughout the vendor room. Everybody was there, and there's other videos that specifically show the vendors. I just wanted to focus on a few of them and a few of the things. One other one that I'm going to look at here a little bit later is from Blackheart Models, and specifically one of the models that they just released and that I purchased and that I think is really pretty awesome. So I'm going to talk about that as well. And also some models at the end from Filmi's Girls, which I picked up, and that will wrap up this video. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go ahead and show you the video with Michael Berglund from Escape Hatch Hobbies, and it's just escapehatchhobbies.com. Well, let me show you the video and then I'll talk a little bit. Hi, I'm here with Michael Berglund, and you are of escapehatchhobbies.com, and you're a sculptor and an artist. You do your own artwork, as you can see right here, some posters. I had purchased your Helene's Horror Fly's Wife figure, which I love very much. Excellent figure. Put it onto my fly build. You do a lot of different things from the horror genre, and talk a little bit about like what you're doing.
Well, I've had the good fortune to be able to kind of play in a sandbox that was from when I was a kid, right? I love the Aurora models, built them all. I still have all my original collection. So I'm very attracted to making things in that scale, in that style, and all the kits that I'm making myself personally are kind of nostalgia based. They've got a lot to do with classic monsters, but I'm also looking for niche subjects that other people aren't doing, which is kind of hard, but you know, there's 300 Frankensteins out there. What hasn't been done, or what hasn't been done in this style, is kind of what interests me these days. You know?
Right, and absolutely. So you have several over here where you have some original designs that you made, the Wolf Woman, Countess Dracula, but you also made some other ones like the Wasp Woman, the Slee Stack, and you made your own boxes, which I think is really, really awesome. I really love that a lot. The boxes that are there, and it really does bring up that idea of the Aurora kits back from that time, because I as well grew up with those and really love the Aurora kits and building those as a kid. So
especially with those ones, there's 4 female monsters in the series. I call them ferocious females, and I really wanted people to get the idea, okay, these aren't girl kits, they're not companions, brides, daughters, they're full-fledged monsters in the Aurora style. And so in order to get that idea across, I think the boxes really help communicate. This is just a monster. It's not the monster's girlfriend, right? And so we were wondering whether people would respond to this line, and so far people seem to really like it, and I've had a lot of fun. And the way these are selling, I think I'm going to do a lot of other sort of female companion monsters that go with the other Aurora kits. Yeah.
Very, very cool.
Yeah.
Really, really cool. So yeah, awesome. So really great meeting you. I love your work. I definitely want to get some more things from you.
Absolutely. And great job on the fly diorama.
Thank you.
It's always great when I do my part and then I see it get out in the real world and see the creative things that people do, and you took it to another level. So
thank you. It really did add to it. It was definitely a big part of it. So really happy to get that. So all right. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Good talking to you.
You too.
really like his stuff, and he works with that guy.
You see Dean Norman's table over there?
I've seen Dean's on Jack George's, but
Well, Dean's very disarrayed today. He just sculpted a more like me. So yeah, I'll tell you. I will tell
I
you.
think that was disappointing with Lena's hair. Straight, that's like
He'll never be afraid to talk about that. If he sticks with me.
All right, so really cool. I really like the Ferocious Females set, and I did pick up one of them. I picked up the Wasp woman, and I really like that. I like the idea of it being a similar insect themed to the fly that I just built from there, and so I'm going to show you that here in a moment. So I went on the site and I was looking for them. It was a little tricky to find. I guess they're just adding them. But if you go to the site, on the first page at the top, there's a little link that says new models featured at Wonderfest. And if you click on it, it shows it. You can't apparently purchase them from there yet. I guess they're just working on it. But they were offered, I guess, for the first time at Wonderfest. And so I'm sure that they'll be coming soon. It even says coming soon. So you'll be able to go ahead and get those if you want. But there's quite a lot of other models on that site, a lot of extra parts you can get for different models, full models as well, and they're building other ones in the future. So I highly recommend it, definitely. Some of them are a little more on the pricier range for some people's budgets, like $100 or $140 or something like that. But they're really well made, and they're interesting subjects that you can't get anywhere else. And so if you're into this kind of thing, I would definitely highly recommend it. But there's also other less expensive parts on there that you can get to augment other model kits. I mean, the average model kit that you buy nowadays, even like the Fly, was like $60, that kind of thing. So it's somewhat of an expensive hobby at times, for sure. But definitely check it out at their site. So let's go ahead and take a look at the Wasp woman. All right, so here's the kit that I got from Michael Berglund from Escape Hatch Hobbies, in a really cool box that it comes in, and then have the old style Aurora oval with MB for Michael Berglund and Escape Hatch Hobbies. They're out of Colorado. Very cool. On the back they have featuring their other 4 kits from the Ferocious Females line. Or style 1/8 scale. It says all plastic assembly kit. They're trying to make it look like the models. They're not all plastic, they're 3D printed. But you get your Wasp Woman, of course, your Devil Witch, which these two are from actual films. And then you have these other 2, which are original creations that he made, which was a female werewolf and Countess Dracula. And then these 2 he made in order to, the base on them are similar to the base on the Wolfman and the Count Dracula, which I'm honestly not sure who they're made from right now. I don't know if, I'm not sure. I don't want to say, but I know there's current copies available, current versions of them available out there. And then these are from actual films, like I said, for the Wasp Woman. So very cool, very cool box. So let me go ahead and it is very accurate. So I probably saw this as a kid, but I don't remember. I saw a lot of the old horror movies back when I was growing up in the 70s. And just like Michael said in his interview, same motivation that I have. I loved watching the old horror movies. I was too young to see them in the 50s, of course. I wasn't born until 1961. But I saw them later in the late 60s and the early 70s on TV and the old, horror channels. Like in Pittsburgh, we had Chiller Theater with Chilly Bill Cardell, and he would have the late night horror movies. There were other ones on during the day and things like that. But so when I got home from Wonderfest, I looked this up and I found it on YouTube and watched it. It was in black and white, but they had a colorized version. and very accurate, right, even right down to the necklace. And the point of it is the whole film. It's a pretty straightforward idea. So the woman who becomes the Wasp woman is the owner of a cosmetics company, and is starting to decline because she's getting older, and people don't associate her with youth anymore. It's one of those things where she's really in her 20s, but they make her look like she put glasses on her and put her hair up in a bun. So now she's 40 years old. Oh no, she looks terrible. so she's all worried, and then the scientist is working with wasps and the queen wasp's royal jelly, and determines he can de-age animals, and they basically show this older animal that's kind of raggedy looking, and he pretends to inject it. They put it down, and then they show their faces, and they're like, "Oh no, what's happening?" And they're back, and there's a younger kitten or something, or a rabbit, or it's pretty funny. They don't show any transformations at all in this film, and so of course she then starts taking the injections and gets younger, puts her hair down from a bun, and takes her glasses off, and suddenly she's 22 again. And then, but obviously there's a side effect, and she starts turning into this wasp woman for no apparent reason, and starts killing people, and it doesn't end well with her. She ends up dying in the end. They throw acid on her, and she falls out of a building. But no real, not really any main story. She's not evil or anything. The doctor's not evil or anything. It's just like, science gone bad kind of thing, I guess. And in the end, it ends tragically for her. But this is the dress she was wearing. Not very attractive, but whatever. But she has this necklace. So then that's how we know it's her, because when we don't see her transform, but when she becomes when somebody comes in and all of a sudden they're like, and this wasp thing is coming at them. It's just the head and the hands, and it's obvious that these hands are just some kind of mittens she threw on when she attacks them, and pretends to bite their neck, and there's fake blood, and then she's supposed to have devoured them, but we don't ever see anything like that. So it's really hilarious. So, but let me go ahead. That's why I kind of liked it, and plus it's also, since I did The Fly, I kind of like the idea of another insect monster kind of thing, and it is pretty cool looking. So let me show you what you get inside the box. So there's no instructions, but you don't really need them. It's pretty obvious how you do it. So the parts are all 3D printed. They're all inside of this bag. So let me take them all out, and then I'll show you what it comes with. All right, so here you go. So you have a base. Just looks like a stone floor. 2 places where her feet go into it. A little bit of a warp to it, but nothing major. I can put that into some hot water and straighten it out. Flatten it out. You tend to get that on flat pieces with 3D printing. You've got a few little extra things like this little plant base and the plant leaves, which actually are in green, which are kind of cool looking. There's also some gray. So you have this plant. You have this stool. And actually these are from the film. It's interesting. She's not really seen outside of their lab, the cosmetics lab in their building. For whatever reason, that's where she's gotten the injection from the scientist. And so when people go snooping in there to look into what she's doing or what's going on, she appears out of nowhere and kills them. And that's what's there. At one point, somebody grabs a stool and they use it like a lion tamer and poking her with it. And I think that's how they end up like fending her off and killing her. And then the one main character, she's attacking his girlfriend, and he holds her off, and then the scientist throws some acid on her, and she falls out a window and dies. So not a big plot point to it. It's barely over an hour. You got your nice little Wasp Woman nameplate, which is really cool. And like he said, he's making it reminiscent of the old Aurora monster kits, which is cool. I like that about it. That's why I really liked it. I like that whole B-movie horror, or even sometimes not B-movie horror, like The Fly was, I don't consider a B-movie, but very cool. So you got the Wasp then. So you got her lower part, which is her skirt, and you've got her upper torso, which has a little bit of detail, and her little necklace. Goes together fairly nicely. And the thing is, it's a natural seam. So with a little bit of cleanup on these things and the supports underneath, you can get that on there pretty easily, and you wouldn't have to really worry about that seam at all. And at first I was trying to figure out how it was, because it's really weird, but she's at a weird angle as she appears on the box, where she's like hunched over in a way. And it's the idea, and in the film too, she's this weird, awkward way that she moves, which is supposed to be, you know, she's a wasp, I guess. I don't know. It's weird. But they've got her shoes. And so again, here's that weird pose. So she's in a strange, hunched over kind of pose. And you wouldn't have to clean anything up on the bottom because you're not going to see it. Just like with my Helene figure for the fly. You have your other shoe. Yeah, it's kind of hard to hold it all. So yeah, so she'd be doing that. You have her two arms. That are pretty cool. You got some nice little detail in that. Little stinger. I don't know why she'd have the stinger on her hand, but it was an easy costume for them to make. Pretty nice fit. So here's the one on the right. Really nice. No seam at all. And again, that would be like a natural seam for a sleeve. Just a little bit on the right side, but probably just clean up that a little attachment there. But still, not too bad. Sorry, keeping out of focus. Yeah. So she's also, but she's leaned over. And then you have, let me see if I can get her head on top while holding these. Because the head's also kind of weird, but the whole body's cockeyed. So she's looking sort of like this, which is supposed to look unnatural, like she's freaky. Very nice job on the head. Really, really nice. Really nice detail. You got the you've got the big bulbous eyes with little bumps on them. She's got some fangs coming up. Again, I don't think this is really how a wasp looks. Her hair is more coarse looking, almost like a werewolf, kind of weird looking thing. The little antennae built in, very nice. Even some rough detail on the antennae. Pretty cool. And so you probably wouldn't have a problem. On the Helene figure, I had to do something with her neck. Actually, this one I might have to as well. Yeah, so the neck is probably the only place you'd have to really seal it up. But it's pretty easy to access, so I could easily get to that. Put that on her head. Very cool. Some nice wrinkles in the clothing. Very well done. Very well designed, very well printed. Really nice model. Here's the stole. Could probably do a little backdrop, like she's near a window. Maybe I could just build some little framework like a window or something for the lab. Maybe even put some beakers or something to make it kind of go with it, but nothing major, you know, it's just a small base. And then she would fit somehow like that. Okay, yeah. So very cool. And you could do your own base. I mean, you could do what you want with it, but pretty nice. Definitely a nice little figure. Very well done. So highly recommend it. I definitely want to look into possibly getting some of the other ones, and they're going to work on new ones in the future as well. Some of the other ones. They did have one they were showing on their site with the After Midnight, like the guy in London After Midnight kind of thing, if you know what I'm talking about. And they had some other ones too, like I said, the Slee Stack. They had one called Octoman, which was from one of the films. So definitely really cool things. So they are a bit pricey, as I said. So this kit was $140, but he not only designs the entire thing, but he actually prints them himself and puts all that into it. So I understand what goes into something like that. So to me, it's worth it. You know, nowadays, you could easily pay that for a cast resin kit, or even for, you know, a lot of model kits nowadays, close to $100. So if you're into this kind of thing, you're into the science fiction or the horror from the 50s, definitely look them up. And there's other things on there. Plus, like I said, they have add-on parts for other models as well, including bases and extra heads, replacement heads, and things of that nature. So really cool site. Highly recommend it, and check it out to see what they have available there. And one other thing, he was also selling posters of the box art. And here's the Wasp woman. He threw it in for free for me with my model, and he signed it. And really, really good artwork. I didn't realize he also did the artwork on the box for the Fly from Monarch. He had posters of that he had signed. I didn't realize he did that. I really love that as well. That's a really cool image. So really awesome artist, and really awesome designs that he's making for his website there. All right, so then the other vendor that I wanted to show a product from is Blackheart Models. Really good company. I have built from them before. I built the Predator POD ship that I built with Augie Gonzalez, and I did a video on that a couple years ago. Augie builds a lot of their figures, a lot of their busts. He had several entered in from Star Trek. He also had a Moff Gideon, which is really awesome. So let me first start with just a kind of a video of their display showing all the busts, from very giant, large ones to really tiny ones. And then I'll go ahead and start talking about the model that I bought from them as well.
I have to say we're sideshow or you're sideshow, but it's just,
I don't think I've ever done it.
no, because me personally, I would say something that to me, I would do that.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, but if I had a situation where everything else is just right and the face is so long that I wouldn't talk about it.
All right, so here's a new model made by Blackheart Models. Blackheart Models does a lot of resin cast, or I'm not quite sure if they're resin cast or 3D printed. I think it's a combination, or they 3D print it and then cast it in resin. But they do a lot of busts, really, really nice quality busts. Quite a few of them are from Star Trek or Star Wars or other properties like that. I've built their Predator POD ship, the concept ship. That was a build that I did a couple years ago. Really, really good quality model. So I've talked to them, to the gentleman there, George, who owns the company. Actually, he's retiring, I believe, but myself and Augie Gonzalez talked to him a lot. Augie's built a lot of his Star Trek busts, quite a few. He entered several into the contest this year. And so we've been talking to him, and this is one of the models that he's just come up with and released. And if you want to get more info on it, Augie did an interview with him, and I'm sure he'll be showing that on his channel soon. But what this is, as you can see, Judge Dredd's SM33 bike. So this is based loosely on the newer version of Judge Dredd with Carl Urban. I believe it was 2014, if I'm not mistaken. So in the film, he does have a motorcycle at the beginning of the film, and this is loosely based. He did say it's not exactly like the bike. I saw the film, I really liked it, but I haven't seen the bike recently, So I'm not sure if it's exactly right, but it's not just the bike. It comes with 2 figures, one of Judge Dredd and one of his partner, Judge Anderson, which is played by Olivia Thirlby in the film. So I really like the film. And so there's 2 figures and the bike. Now, he was telling us that he called it the SM33, which is by Sid Mead. I think he was either the creator of Judge Dredd or something to do with Judge Dredd for sure. Somebody's going to correct me in the comments probably, and that's okay. And the 33, I'm not sure what that means. That might have been the year he was born, something like that. But again, look for Augie's video. He does talk more about it and how he came about it. So let me get ahead and open it up and show you what this model comes with. All right, so here are all the parts that you get. And the instructions, very simple. You've got the front sheet, which talks about the world of Judge Dredd. They even came up with a description of the bike and the specs, which they've obviously made up. I did figure out, and I knew this, I should have thought of it. Sid Mead, he was he was an artist, and did future concepts. I believe he was heavily involved in Blade Runner, if I'm not mistaken, and that whole aesthetic of the big giant cities and things like that. And certainly Judge Dredd is similar with the big mega cities and mega structures, which we see in this film. So here's the instructions, pretty straightforward, how to put the bike together. They don't have any further figures because it's just the figure and the 2 arms, which is pretty simple. If you can't figure that out, you shouldn't be building this model. But yeah, digital artist Eric Askew designed Dredd's SM33 for Blackheart. This original design was inspired by the artwork of late futurist concept artist Sid Mead. And yes, 1933 was the year he was born. Died in 2019, unfortunately. Dredd and Judge Anderson figures were sculpted by Joe Simon, 3D printed by Ed Bradley and Creature Crafters. So, having done 3D printing myself really gives me an appreciation for what they've done. The quality of these is just absolutely mind-blowing. And I don't even know how they did it, how they could have been 3D printed. I'm pretty sure that the bike is cast in resin because I can see a, like here, there's a little stub, like a pour part. But still, very nice. A little bit of a seam there, but nothing that big of a deal. Really nice detail, really nice resin, really smooth. You got your tires and your tire tread. This grill on the front, which unfortunately you can't see as much because the wheel blocks it, but it's still pretty sweet. So the way this goes is you got these side pieces and you got the little Dredd symbol, and it's on a couple places on the bike. And on the other side you have the SM33, which you also have on the bike, Sid Mead 33. Really nice fit. So what you would do is, here's the front tire, again with the Judge Dredd eagle symbol, really cool, nice tread. So let's see, so you would have like this piece here, and it goes in. Oops, did I get it wrong? I think so, yes, I'm sorry. The other side. One has a squared side, one has the rounded edge on. It's a little bit different, so I think that goes in there. Yeah, look at that fit. How beautiful that is. Perfect. And then on the bike, it goes in here. And then you would have the other side. So as you can see the grill. It's in there, but it's kind of obscured somewhat. And then you have a seat with the back lights. That just goes into a keyed part, really simple. Now the figure, of course, doesn't sit on it, they're standing, so they're just standing next to it. And then they have a clear part for the headlight, so I guess you could light it, but I'm not quite sure how you would do that. It would have to go down through this solid piece and come out somewhere in the bottom, so I'm not quite sure I would want to try to do that, but that just goes into here. And then the you would paint the other parts you didn't want to be clear. The headlight would just be clear. Or you could just leave it that way so you had a clear looking headlight. Maybe paint silver behind it and then paint whatever color I end up doing for the bike. Not sure what color I want to do on that, but very, very cool. And then you also have a little piece here that goes in this back part, which I'm not sure what that's supposed to be exactly. And then you have the two footrests that go into there, one on each side. If you had a person sitting in the back, which they wouldn't really have a place to sit, but that's okay. And again, no one's going to be sitting on the bike, so the bike's really sweet. Pretty straightforward build. And definitely some cool detail that you could do some nice looks on it. Maybe some chrome to make it look good. But what really makes this kit pop are the figures. These figures are absolutely stunning. And again, I think they're 3D printed. In fact, you can even see on Dredd with his helmet there a tiny little support and a few in the back. So I think this was 3D printed. I have no idea how they did this. I mean, look how beautifully clean that is. No support lines, no support marks. Unbelievable. Just absolutely astounding. And look at the face, his scowl. I love that. The whole film, Carl Urban is just scowling the whole time. You don't see his face. You only see this much in the whole film. He never takes his helmet off. You got detail on his uniform. You got his belt and all the different weaponry. He was loaded to the hilt with weapons. His little holster. Look how fine that holster is. And his boots. Just incredible. And then they have him. And again, these arms fit on like a dream. They're just molded. And I'm going to make a liar out of myself. There we go. Yeah, like that. There we go. So he's pointing it. His other arm is cradling the gun. Like so. Very, very cool. And the beauty of it is that the arms go on, the arms go on with these big shoulder pads so that there's no seam to be worrying about. None at all. Just glue him together, minor cleanup, and that's a beautiful figure. An open muzzle on his gun. Just gorgeous. Absolutely awesome. And then he would be standing posed next to the bike, of course. You know, maybe make some small little diorama kind of thing. And then the Judge Anderson, I like even better. Look at this figure. Just absolutely amazing. And of course, she has a face and hair because she doesn't wear a helmet through most of it. But same thing, same detail. Super clean. Utterly amazing how clean this figure is. No cleanup at all. And she's doing the same thing. She has the gun pointing out from her. And a similar thing. So her arm goes on with a natural seam, so that shouldn't be any big issue to clean up. And then the shoulder arm, and then you got her pointing her gun off to the side. So pretty cool poses that they have. She doesn't have, she's not cradling the gun. She just has her arm down at her side. Yeah, like that. Yeah. In a defiant pose with her fist clenched. Really awesome. I mean, that's beautiful. Such a beautiful figure. This is what sold me on it, the figures. The figures are so great. And George talked about that, George Stevens. And he talked about how they do mostly figures, but he wanted to do more vehicles or machines. But he wanted to do a build where there was a combination, where you had figures and you had a machine, and have it as a set. And that's what he has. So he has the bike. He has the two figures that are prominent. And really beautifully done. Absolutely beautiful. Definitely be a joy to build this whenever I start doing that. But so amazing. I still just can't get over the pristine quality of this 3D printed part. Or even if it was cast in resin, I mean, it's just astounding how they got so much detail and such a perfect thing. I'm trying to even look for layer lines, but I don't even see anything like that. Yeah, there's like one little thing there that might even have been like a minor support, but good Lord. The beauty of these castings. That's always been my favorite part of Blackheart's models, is that they really are top-notch quality. Quite beautiful. So they really knocked it out of the park with this one. So I recommend it if you like this character at all. Now, like I said, keep in mind, as he said, this bike is not going to be exactly the same as the one that he had in the film. It's similar. He did have a big, bike like this with big tires, and he was chasing the criminals in the beginning of the film. But other than that, I mean, it's just beautiful. It's a beautiful work. So absolutely love it. All right, and then the last two models, I actually bought first at the beginning of the show. Before I went, I belonged to one of the Facebook groups for a model company called Filmi's Girls. Retro future or something like that, they say. Really cool figures. I had built last year the Charge bust, which was the Bride of Frankenstein bust, which I really liked a lot, and or the year before maybe. And so I'm really interested in their figures. They're sexy women, but they're a lot of times popular subjects like Pebbles from the Flintstones, or they have the current one is Judy Jetson, which they have as a sexy figure. They have a one called Laguna, which is from the creature from the Black Lagoon, but a female version. So they do things like that. And they're very large models. They are pricey, in the several $100 range, and they're hard to get as well. So in advance, they had advertised on their Facebook group that they were going to be having the new Judy figure released exclusively at Wonderfest, first of all. And they also announced that they were going to have some of their older ones, which are discontinued, that are hard to get. And they listed what they were going to have. And one of them was Laguna, which is the creature from the Black Lagoon one, which I wanted to get last year, but I waited too long and I missed it. So this year, they were going to release them and have them ready to go first thing 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. So I got the, there's an early bird pass you can get to go in from 8 a.m. to 10, because normally it's at 10 o'clock. So I went ahead and got that, and thankfully I'm glad I did, because first there was a line at Filmi's Girls, and then they sold out of the ones I wanted, but I did get the two that I wanted. I got the Judy and I got the Laguna. So let's go ahead and take a look at them. All right, and here is one of two models I got from Filmi's Girls. It's hard to get the whole box in the camera. Obviously, they make sexy versions of characters. Like this is Judy Jetson from the Jetsons riding a scooter. Very cool. Here's the box for it. So here's the model. It's hard to see it all on the table. Very, very big model. So here's the main body, where you have her whole torso, her left leg. Her right leg is separate. Nicely designed so that, again, there's a natural seam where this goes together. And we'll clean up. A lot of nice detail built into the figure. She's wearing tights, so you paint them in different colors. Very cool. And then there's a part that goes into the seat of the bike, or the scooter. So here's the scooter. And so she's going to go like this. She's going to be sitting on the scooter like that. With one of her feet down on the ground. Very, very cool. I'm not going to take all the parts out, but most of them. So there's her head. A little bit of cleanup around the neck seam, but it's even cool. Part of her hair goes down onto the neck part that connects in. There's another part of her hair that goes up on the top. And there's also a part that this little open hood, the standard little collar hood that really flared out a lot from the show. Very interesting, but very cool, very nicely done. Nice features. And very huge kit. This has got to be like more than a foot tall when it's done. She's in 1/5 scale, just looking at the box. So then you have, I'm not going to take all the parts out, but you've got some other parts for the scooter, a little TV screen. Oh, it's not a TV screen, it's a little robot thing. On the box it shows having a heart on it. A heart on it. Not something else. Get your dirty mind out of the gutter. They got some other little parts in containers here that I'll have to take out. Got her arms. Again, I'm not going to take those out. The handlebars. Very, very cool. And you've got the base. Let me pull this out a second. Here's the other piece of her hair that goes on. So it's a big part of her hair. Like, it goes out quite a bit. Looking kind of fanciful, which is really cool. I like that. And you have other parts of her skirt. It's almost like a pantsuit, but you have the parts of the skirt that hang down around the pantsuit onto there. And you have, I'll show you the base here in a moment. But you got this thing, you got the sissy bar, goes in the back, it's made out of metal. You got an acrylic post that holds the bike up, goes in the bottom of the bike. So it kind of looks like it's hovering, it's a hover bike. Some little metal, I'm not sure. Those are probably her earrings or something, I'm not sure. I'll have to look and see on that. So let me get these off and I'll show you the base. All right, so the base is actually massive and it's in 3 parts. So you've got these 2 parts. You have this bottom piece that's solid and it has the marking on the bottom, kit number 21. So that's on the bottom. And then this is keyed, of course, to go into it. So it's kind of a little platform. Pretty cool. Kind of gives you the idea. In the Jetsons, you had all those high up platforms up in the air. And then you've got this really nice railing part, which you can do a lot of chrome on it and things like that. And then it glues down into these holes. Probably have to do a little finagling to get it to fit down in there, of course. But yeah, you got a railing. And then you got the peg in the middle for the acrylic part that comes up and supports the bike. It's a very, very cool. Very awesome kit. Massive, massive figure. So really, really happy with it. And here's the other kit that I got. It's an older one of theirs called Laguna, obviously creature of the Black Lagoon, but the sexy woman wearing the costume. And there's an alligator on it, which is really cool, and a director's chair and the creature's head as well. So this is the one I really wanted the most, and I saw it last year and I waited and I didn't get it. So these sell out really quickly, as they did this year, of course, as I said. And so I was debating between getting this one and Judy Jetson, and ended up getting them both. They were very pricey, of course, but they are very hard to get. So I definitely wanted this one, and I really like the Judy that just came out. So I had some extra money earmarked for this trip, so I went ahead and put it down onto them. So very nice and really, really beautiful models for sure. So well worth it from them. This one is no longer available. They no longer make it, but they did get, I think, 3 of them or something like that from somebody else's collection. And and ended up selling them here and ran out of them. They are going to be making more of the Judys, but they also sold out of those at the convention, as I said. So, all right, let's take a look at this one. All right, so here is the Laguna, and I'll show you first of all the alligator because then I want to get it out of the way. So most of him is built into the base. I'm not going to take the base out, but I'll show you like parts of it. Really cool alligator head, 2-part head for the jaw. Very, very cool. Lots of cool detail. So he's going to go onto this massive base, big thing of resin. You can see like here's his leg, part of his body, and his tail over here. But the base is hollow underneath, but it still was a big thick piece of resin. So nice solid base for her to stand on. So here's the main figure. So she's supposed to have her arm behind her back, unzipping the costume. So this is her right arm. You can see it goes in the back. Let's just look at it. Very, very cool detail. There's the little clawed foot, very cool looking. There's the back. And then you got the leg that goes on it, where her leg is sticking behind her. See how that works, like this. Okay, like that. Yeah. And I believe it's sitting on the director's chair, and then you have the other foot, very nicely done, which goes on here. Very cool. You have an extra piece of the little fin. It's in there that comes out through the back of this. But other than that, it's pretty much some main pieces for the body to do it. You've got the really nice head sculpt. And it's nicely done too. They have this little thing around her neck. It's supposed to be, I guess, part of the costume, even though I guess that's supposed to be her skin, but it's a necklace thing. So when her head's on, it hides any seam. No seam at all. Very nice. Like a necklace or something, or a neckband. And you got the director's chair, which I'm not going to take out. Here's that extra fin part that I told you about that goes in the back of her leg. And then you've got the creature from the Black Lagoon. It's supposed to be its helmet. It's not hollow or anything, but that's going to sit on the side of the chair, I believe, so that she took it off and she's sultrily removing her costume. So very cool kit. Really happy with it. Really sizable figure again. It's going to be really nice when I get this one built at some point. All right, so some really cool models. I definitely got quite a bit more this year than I typically do, but I had kind of planned that and earmarked some things. And so really happy with the ones I got. I'm really excited to build these in the future. I don't have any set plans just yet for any of them, but definitely a nice little variety from the two large Filmi busts, or not busts, but figures with the sexy women, and the real small little figures of Dredd and Judge Anderson with the motorcycle. And then, of course, the Wasp woman, which is really kind of cool, too. I like that one a lot. So, really great show. Got some good merchandise. Definitely check out Escape Hatch Hobbies if you're interested in those types of things. And there's quite a lot there that you can choose from. Primarily with the horror, and especially from, like the 50s or 60s and that kind of thing. So, I highly recommend it. Very good quality. Also, Blackheart Models, definitely recommend them. And I really like the Dredd figure from that. So, all right. Well, thank you to all my new subscribers. Really happy with the latest show from Wonderfest, and already getting excited for next year. All right. I will see you next time.